is finally cold here in Europe. It's been mild. We avoided perhaps the worst of an energy crisis. The IEA Fatty B-roll says the worst is yet to come. Europe risks being complacent. Is he right? Does Europe risk being complacent?
I think we always risk to be complacent, and I think it's very good to hear a voice like Fatty B-roll saying us, be careful guys, the challenges are yet to come. I think what happened this week is very good news, because we had a pretty severe cold spell in the northern part of France and part of Europe, and we've been able to go through without any issue. Gas infrastructure is working very well. We have gas flowing in a very optimal way to make sure that end consumers will receive what they expect. And on the electricity side, where we have a bit of a challenge in France, due to the situation with our nuclear power plants, we've been able also to feed customers, and there was no disruption at all.
So we've survived the stress
We've survived
test
this week,
yes.
And I think it's a good sign for the rest of the winter.
What needs to happen to make sure the rest of the winter and winter 23 can continue in that path?
Well, it's a bit different on electricity and gas. On electricity, what we need is to make sure that EDF, French utility, will be able to bring the majority of its nuclear plants online. They have a plan to go back to a normal level of operation. Their CEO has confirmed yesterday that he was optimistic that they will be able to achieve that. On gas side, we are seeing a significant reduction in consumption, 10% more or less, a bit more in some countries. That's good news. It shows that people are listening to the messages regarding the need for energy conservation. We need to see LNG continuing to flow. And we've been able to reorganize our access to gas in the last 6 months.
I want to ask that in Engie specifically, in terms of being able to reorganize that. Have you been able, I know you've had some contracts with US suppliers, for example, have you been able to completely replace the Russian supply?
Yes, we have completely, at Engie, if you take the Engie situation, we have completely replaced Russian gas, thanks to more gas coming from Norway, more gas coming from the US, and a few other countries helping us rebalance our contract portfolio.
But is that sustainable, especially as China starts to come back on the map? I mean, this is a competitive market.
For Engie, I think we are pretty confident. When I look at the commitment we have with our customers and the way we are able to manage our contracts, I think we'll be able to go through next winter. But the challenge is for Europe as a whole. Once again, we have a situation which gives us today the view that we will be able to go through next winter, despite the fact that there won't be any more Russian gas or a very limited flow of Russian gas. Now, we need to make sure we continue to save energy, one, and we need to make sure we continue to access LNG. If China's economic activity was to pick up, it would be a point of attention. But even in the past few days after the announcement that the COVID restriction would be lifted, we have not seen any tension on the LNG market. So far, so good in terms of access to energy. The big challenge for Europe, as you know, are the prices.